Hi, it's your buddy Mike Messier. This is Mike's not so instant movie review of Paint, starring Owen Wilson as painter Carl Nagel. Now, or Nargle, I should say. If you've seen the previews for this or the commercials, you've probably, like I, might have thought that this was some type of Bob Ross movie, but it might be inspired a bit by Bob Ross, especially with the hair, but it's not an officially licensed Bob Ross documentary or biopic, and it's the character is really its own departure. I did like this movie. I think it's funny. Trying to compare it to something, it's hard. It's kind of got a very warm, in its own way, sensibility. There's no bathroom humor in this thing that I can remember. There's no disgusting humor. It's a character. I could see this being a sequel that I would like to see. I'm not sure exactly what they could do with the sequel, but I could see them doing that. Kind of like just a fun character like the Anchorman, or even going back to the early Michael Myers, Austin Powers, not the sequels, but the first one, where you kind of have this unique character and you grow to love him by the end of the film. Now, what is the movie about? Carl Nagel, well, first of all, should you see this movie? I think so. I think it's a movie worth seeing, probably for anybody 12 or older. I think it's a film you could take a date to, you could take a family member to. It's not so explicit it's going to embarrass anybody, unless you're highly offended, I guess, by lesbians, because there is some lesbian activity, but not graphic, but there is lesbian love in this movie, so I know some people are offended by that, but if you're not, you're not. So that comes through the Ambrosia character. Also some generational humor in this thing. Carl Nagel kind of looks like a Bob Ross. He's a PBS PBS public broadcasting system host of a show called Paint. It's been on, for 30 years. Kind of gives Carl an ageless type of thing. We don't really know how fucking old he is, but here he is, and he's kind of like always in a time warp. Like he just. In the system, the PBS is its own time warp. Like they're still using super VHS tapes, which I thought was funny. And Carl doesn't have, fucking call waiting on his phone, and just some stuff like that. And then along comes this. They basically say, "Hey, Carl, the station manager, who's a funny guy. I can't remember his name, but he's been in a lot of stuff. He's like, Carl, our station is suffering financially. We want to." Have your show go 2 hours a day and do 2 paintings a day, one on each 1 hour show. And Carl's like, oh, I can't do that. That would lower the worth of my paintings. But anything else you want me to do, I'll do for you. So the station manager is a bit upset and dejected and maybe hurt. And he finds himself this new girl, Ambrosia, who's kind of a very 2023 sexy, sexually fluid, you might say, or lesbianic, kind of racially ambiguous young lady. She kind of comes in a house of fire. She pays her due respect to Carl, but at the same time, she's actually, in a lot of ways, a better painter than him, a fresher voice in the world of painting. And she's sexy, too. And one of the people that she ends up fucking is basically Carl's love, a woman that Carl loves, who's the station manager, that Carl and he had this relationship 20 years earlier, and through a twist of fate they split up. And I won't give away all the fucking thing in the movie, but basically this Ambrosia is like the new hot young hand in the world of Vermont painting. Everything in this movie, as far as like money, they're talking about Carl's income, and he gets $46,000 a year. Everything is scaled to fit Vermont standards, which I thought was funny. In fact, when I lived in New England for many years, I went to Massachusetts, I went to Connecticut, I lived in Rhode Island, I went to Maine quite a bit. The only state in New England that I never went to was Vermont. I went to New Hampshire. I have family in New Hampshire, so happy Easter to my New Hampshire relatives, but I never went to Vermont. So it just goes to show you that even in New England, Vermont is kind of overlooked. So I thought the whole thing was pretty funny. You know, I did notice that in the particular theater I was in, I was the only person in the theater the other night. This was Friday night. I was the only person in the theater in wherever the fuck I was in Florida, which I thought was a little disappointing. And there was definitely people going to see probably the Super Mario Brothers movies, which I haven't seen yet, or the Dungeons and Dragons movies. You know, these type of, it's not even summer yet, but these type of summer blockbuster films, to me, are not as much fun and as rewarding as these, you know, one-of-a-kind films like Paint. So I enjoyed Paint. The supporting characters, the funny thing is that Carl, even though he paints on a local PBS station, he has all these women, you know, pawing after him. They just funny shit. You know, it's like anything else. If you convince people that a rock is worth $1 million, other people think that rock is worth $1 million, and you know, you convince these women that this guy Carl is this hot stud, and they all fall for it. You know what I mean? I paint my goddamn self. You don't see me going around trying to upset the apple fucking cart. Maybe I should. These are my wonderful paintings, Carl. So maybe I'll have a paint off with you and Ambrosia at some point. I did these yesterday. Aren't they wonderful? You can buy them on the Foreign Object eBay store. Or not, assholes. But you should. Buy my goddamned book while you're at it. In any event, I'm a little tired. It's Easter Sunday. I guess I shouldn't be swearing up a storm. I'm just so tired. I watched that UFC thing last night. A lot of people were in the house. Just a lot of noise. But yeah, it was fun. Good fights. I enjoyed it. Good food, actually. The host made a lot of food for everybody. So that's it. I hope you have a good Easter. I've gone to two Wawas today. You know, it's been a big Wawa day for me. I just kind of hit that thing where I woke up really early this morning, and I was like, I'm going to take on the day. And then by 1 or 2 o'clock, I was fucking tired. But then I'm in the middle of transit. I'm pulling over to take naps. So things got a little challenging. But yeah, I'm going to get back to my road trip. I hope you have a wonderful day. Paint, good movie. Good job, Owen.